Today, let's discuss summary measure for quantitative variable, especially measure of central tendency. You might know about the mean. It belongs to measure of central location for the quantitative data. Not only mean, there is another measure called the median and mode. Mean, I think everybody would know that. If you have data, just add it whole, divided by the number of data, we call it is a mean. This is mathematical notation. But for later use, we classify into two categories. If your data is a population, we call it is a population mean. If your data is a sample, we call it is a sample mean, but we are using notation x bar. Okay, well, can you see that x bar here? And we call this is Greek letter mu. The reason we are classifying this is later we are gonna discuss some inferential statistics. Well, to estimate some population, we'd like to use a sample, therefore we'd like to distinguish them. Unfortunately, mean has a very good characteristic. Average is another nickname, but unfortunately, mean is influenced a lot because of outlier. Therefore, although you are using a lot, the mean you should be careful. You need to check whether there is an extreme point or not. How do you know that whether there is extreme point? Plot it, plot the data. You know how to plot using dot graph or histogram, then you can immediately check where is the extreme data. Especially the sample mean has a very good characteristic for the population mean. We'll discuss in chapter 6. Median is roughly it is a middle value. We distinguish it. The sample median is M, and population median is capital M. It looks like this. If there is data, we'd like to select the middle of them. In order to select the middle value, you need to arrange in order, in ascending order, descending order, then take middle. But the trouble is, if the data is the odd number, the number of data is odd number, it's simple. The center imply m plus 1 divided by 2. Why it look like this? Suppose you have 7 data. The middle data is when you arrange it in order, that's a fourth data. How do you calculate the fourth? 7 plus 1 divided by 2. That is this formula. Okay. But suppose you have the even number. Suppose you have 8 number of data, then it is not easy to distinguish middle. Therefore, you have 8 data arranged in order, maybe 4 and 5, you may consider both are in the middle. Therefore, we take fourth data, fifth data simultaneously and take average. That is this formula. Median is not so sensitive to the outlier. Therefore, as an alternative, if there is an extreme point, you may use median. Okay. Another thing is mode. Mode is the most frequently occurred value among data. You can calculate mode counting number of frequency of each data, but if you don't have enough data, it is not necessary. If you have many data, usually we create some frequency table based on interval. Do you remember we plot histogram and able to have some frequency table of quantitative data, then select some interval which has highest frequency. We call that is mode. But you have an interval, take just the middle value of them. And that is the mode. Let's consider some example. Suppose you have data. Find the mean and median. It looks like this. Mean is addition of a whole number divided by number of data 7. It is 6. In order to calculate the median, you should be careful. You need to rearrange data in order. Maybe in ascending order, descending order, it doesn't matter. Well, we have sample size 7. Therefore, if you arrange data, you can see that this is in the middle. How do you find the location? 7 plus 1 divided by 2, that is this formula. Therefore, first data, 6 is median. Well, you can use E-stat. Let's practice that. You have this data. Let's check in E-stat. Do you have E-stat right now? Click ebook. We are talking example 4.3.1. Okay. How can you find the summary measure? Well, here it is. Click this button and then click this square. Will give you some kind of summary measure. And not only the central tendency, they calculate variance, standard deviation, etc. All kind of summary measures. Okay, it is so simple. Just enter data and click this one. Will generate all kind of summary measure. Let's go back to our slide. Well, this is old version of the E-stat. It is the same thing. Okay, in case of a mode, as I mentioned, the quantitative data, if a small number, you don't need to calculate mode. If it is reasonably large, you can have some frequency table based on interval like this. Then check the highest frequency. In this case, here it is 50 and 60. And then take a middle value of this interval. 55 is the mode. There are some variation of measure which you can calculate by using E-stat. Here's trim the mean. Trim the mean is if there is outlier, simply get rid of that. But it is fair equally get rid of some large number and small number, and then take average. That is the trim the mean. It is often used in Olympic game like gymnastic game, swimming game, such that the judges evaluate the student, the player's performance. Okay, let's look at some example later. Another variation is weighted man. I think you are using already because it is used as a GPA. Let's look at the example. Here's Olympic game. I'd like to find the mean. That's so easy. Be sure this is population data. Okay, this is not sample data because evaluating this number will give the final answer. Okay, it's not sampling to estimate something. Therefore, you have to use this notation mu addition all divided by 8 will give you 9.06. To find the median, arrange in order And then how many data we have? We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data. Therefore, middle position imply maybe this and this. Okay? That's the fourth data, and fifth data you can calculate using this formula. Then take average of these two numbers, will give you median. Trimmed mean, which exclude maximum and minimum. Actually, this rule is adopted in the gymnastic game, Olympic, and we just get rid of minimum. Minimum is 7.2, and 10.0 is the maximum. Get rid of them, take average of them. Therefore, we have only 6 data. It will be like this. It will remove some kind of biased judge of some, well, maybe they have same origin with the player. It is adopted in the Olympic game. About some weighted mean, it look like this. You're familiar with this. One student got this kind of letter grade. Well, usually A is rated 4, B is 3 point, C is 2 point. But the Korean has 2 credit hours. Math is a 4 credit hour. English is a 3 credit hour. Then how can you calculate the GPA? It looks like this. Use the credit hour as a weight. Okay. 2 times 4. 4 comes from the A grade has some 4 point. And then this is the credit hour of mathematics multiplied by the B letter grade has 3 point. The third one is 3 credit hour of English multiplied by the C. She has 2 point. Therefore, this student GPA is 2.89. Well, the reason we are doing this, every courses has a different credit hour because of importance or how many hours per week we are giving weight. Okay. Okay, these are the summary measures. Well, next class I'm going to discuss the summary measure for quantitative variable about the measure of dispersion. See you in next class.